Hello everyone, this is Assemblyman Angelo Santa Barbara. I'm here at my home in Rotterdam with my dog, Muffy, who is going to be joining me as we read a story for the S'more summer reading program. And I'm in my backyard. I do a lot of gardening, and I have a storybook that I bought for my children when they were young, and it's called The Treasury of Stories, and in it is a story that I thought might be appropriate for the garden theme, and it's called Peter Rabbit, The Tale of Peter Rabbit. I know a lot of people have heard about this story, and maybe I think there was a recent movie that came out, an animated movie, so you can watch the movie or you can read the book. It's a very short story, but it's a nice little summer type story, and it starts right here, The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Once there were 4 little bunnies named Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother under a big fir tree. One sunny morning, Mother Rabbit told her little bunnies, "You may go out and play, but be sure to stay out of Mr. McGregor's garden." So much like my garden that I have over here, tomatoes and lettuce, and I have zucchini and a number of other plants. So the mother said, "You may go and play, but be sure to stay out of Mr. McGregor's garden. He doesn't like little rabbits, and he'll come chasing after you." So Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail each took a basket, hoping to find some sweet, wild blackberries. So Peter thought he looked rather fine in his new blue jacket with shiny brass buttons. And here he is right here, so everybody can see that. "Run along now," said Mother Rabbit. I'm going to the baker's." And off she went to buy a loaf of brown bread and 5 cinnamon buns. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail were good little bunnies. They always listened to their mother. They went down the lane to look for blackberries. But Peter was a naughty rabbit. He ran down the lane through the fields and squeezed under the gate into Mr. McGregor's garden. He could hardly wait to nibble on some crunchy radishes and carrots. There he is right there. It's a nice book that actually got some good pictures. I always like pictures along with the words. First, Peter ate some lettuce and green beans. Then he ate some radishes. The carrots were delicious, but the onions were too strong for his taste. When Peter's tummy began to ache, he went to look for some parsley. But at the end of a garden row, Peter saw Mr. McGregor. The farmer was on his hands and knees planting some cabbages. When Mr. McGregor saw Peter Rabbit, he jumped up, grabbed his rake, and chased after the scared little bunny. "Stop, thief!" shouted Mr. McGregor. Peter was very frightened. He ran through the garden looking for the gate. Where was it? Peter knew he was lost. Poor Peter lost a shoe among the cabbages, and the other in a potato patch. Without his shoes, he couldn't run much faster. He might have gotten away, but the shiny brass buttons on his new blue jacket tangled in a gooseberry net. The only way Peter could get free was to wriggle out of his new blue jacket and leave it behind. Peter shed big tears. He was sure he would never find his way home. There's the shoes here. And there's Peter. He's stuck in the fence. I had to leave his shiny blue jacket behind. Peter had no time to feel sorry for himself. Mr. McGregor was not far behind. Hop, jump! Peter rushed into a tool shed, jumped inside a watering can. It would have been a good place to hide had it not been half full of water. Mr. McGregor was sure Peter was hiding behind the shed. Quietly and carefully he began turning over flower pots, looking under each one for the naughty little rabbit. Kerchoo! Peter sneezed. And Mr. McGregor was after him again. And there he is inside the watering can. And there's the farmer looking for him in the background, turning over the pots. Peter leaped out the window, upsetting 3 flower pots. Mr. McGregor tried to follow him, but the window was too small. And Mr. McGregor was tired of chasing the little rabbit, so he went back to work in his garden. Peter sat down to rest, He was shaking with fear, and he was out of breath. He didn't know which way to go. He was also very damp from sitting inside that watering can. After a while, he began to wander around, going hippity-hop, not very fast. He saw a door in the wall, but it was locked. And there he is, out the window he goes. Just then, a little mouse scampered past him. Peter asked her the way to the gate, but she had a large pea in her mouth and couldn't answer. She only shook her head at him, and Peter began to cry. Peter wandered across the garden to a fish pond. There, a white cat sat very still, staring at the goldfish swimming in the pond. Peter had been warned about cats. He decided not to ask her the way to the gate. Peter became more and more confused. He went back to the tool shed. Suddenly, close to him, he heard the noise of a hoe. Scratch, 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 scratch. Wonder what that could be. There's the dog. Come here, Muffy. Come here. Come here. Okay. Dog wants to read the book with us. Okay. All right. You can sit here and read the book with us. Okay. All right. We're going to go to the next page. Peter hid underneath some bushes. Nothing happened, so he climbed into a wheelbarrow. He wanted to get a better look around. The first thing he saw was Mr. McGregor hoeing onions. He had his back to Peter. There it was, just across the garden, beyond Mr. McGregor. It was the gate. Peter ran to the gate as fast as he could and slid underneath it to safety. Mr. McGregor couldn't catch him now. Peter didn't stop running until he reached his home beneath the fir tree. Yes, that's right. Yes. And there he is. And there's the farmer chasing Peter. Muffy seems to like this story. You seem to like this story. Yeah. Mother Rabbit was busy cooking. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail were having a supper of bread, milk, and blackberries. Peter was too tired to eat. He flopped down on the soft sand floor and went to sleep. Peter's mother tucked him into the bed and gave him a dose of chamomile tea, a tablespoonful to be taken at bedtime, she said. Mother Rabbit watched Peter sleep. She wondered where he had lost his shoes, his new blue jacket with shiny brass buttons. There they are having the supper. And only Mr. McGregor knew where Peter's clothes were. He had hung them up like a scarecrow to frighten blackbirds away from his garden. And there's Peter's clothes. And that's the end of the story. A short little, nice summertime story. There's a number of stories in here if anybody wants to look up this book. Treasury of Stories. And I'm sure it's available online or at the library. So I hope you enjoyed that. A short story that might be nice to read with kids for the summertime. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the stories that will be part of this series. Have a very happy summer, and I hope to see you in the community soon. Take care. Muffy, you want to say goodbye? Come here. Okay, Muffy's gonna say goodbye. Okay? Say goodbye, Muffy. Okay? Bye.